Hello, and welcome to the Rancho Leaders in Education podcast. We're so excited to share captivating conversations about our students, schools, and educational programs offered here in El Rancho Unified School District. Now it's time to welcome our Superintendent, Dr. Marco Villegas.
Hello and welcome to another edition of El Rancho Leaders in Education. As you may recall, in our last episode, we were able to discuss the importance and the vital role that parents play in the educational process. Well, today, we are blessed to have three of our most dynamic parents in our district. They are the leaders within our parents, and they're going to talk to us about how you can get involved in our schools and how you can support your students. So with us, we have Ms. Christine Saavedra. Welcome, and glad you're here. Ms. Jennifer Prado, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And Ms. Rosalia Luevano, thank you for joining us today. And so I'm going to ask you if we can just get a little information about you and who you are and what's your involvement with our district. So let's start with Ms. Saavedra.
So hi, good afternoon, good evening. I don't know what time you're listening to this, but good morning as well. My name is Christine Saavedra. My students, I have a junior and a senior. So a couple more years, I will be out of everyone's hair. I've been volunteering since my son was in first grade. That's actually when I started with the Bernie Dads Club that many years ago. I volunteer wherever and whatever the school district needs, the schools need, sometimes just with random teams and stuff that comes up just because I hear it. I'll help you. So there I am. It keeps me busy. It makes my heart feel a little bit warmer at night. So that's what I do.
Well, thank you for being here and thank you for everything you do. And so also, Ms. Jennifer Prado, again, welcome and thank you for being here. If you just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Of course. I have 5 children in the school district. I have 3 at Bernie Tech Academy and I have 2 at STEAM Academy. I am part of Dad's Club with Christine. I'm also on site councils. I'm on the DAC councils, the district advisory committees. We recently had the guiding coalition committees as well as the 5-year plan. So wherever the principal tells me that she needs me is where I am. If Ms. Gallegos reaches out and says, hey, we need representation here. All right, what do you need? How do we do it? What's the best attack for our kids? We come together with a plan and I'm there. So you make the schedule work.
Wow, it sounds tiring, all that. You seem like very busy. Well, thank you so much for everything you do. And Ms. Rosalia Luevano, thank you for joining us and thank you for being here. And tell us a little bit about your involvement in the schools.
Okay, it's my pleasure to be here. I got involved when my son started in high school. I went to a meeting about dual language, because I'm a dual language teacher, dual immersion teacher in another district, and I wanted to know what the district was doing, So I went to this meeting and I talked to several people and I started getting involved. They invited me to attend the school site council meeting at Rancho, and I just started getting involved. And like my friends right here said, every time I have an opportunity to go volunteer, either at a fair, book fair, or at a school, I attend. I have one senior that just graduated last year, and I have my last one that will graduate this year. He's very involved in sports, so I'm kind of like team mom for the cross country, and then I help out with track comes in. That's how I got involved, and I'm part of DAC, and I'm the chair for the school site council at Rancho High School. And whenever they call me that they need help and they need someone that would like to give an opinion about something, I'm there, and also try to find solutions to help our district. That's the main thing.
That is awesome. Thank you so much again for everything you do. Clearly, we have a very dedicated group of parents right here sitting in front of me. So we're going to learn from you today. The goal today is to learn of the many things that you're doing, to help our students. And I want to thank you all for what you do, because you don't just do it for your kids, you do it for all kids. And that's very clear in your dedication. So thank you for that. But one of the key things is information. So if I'm going to start with Ms. Prado, if you can answer this question, and how do you stay informed about the district's business and information and events? I mean, there's so much that's out there. What's one way that you stay informed, and what would you say to our parents about how do we stay informed?
The most important way for me is Dojo and Parent Square. If I had to pick one thing that I had, that's where I get my most notifications from, it's Parent Square and Dojo, depending on if you have primary or secondary students. There are so many different ways that the information is pushed out. And I do follow other avenues, such as the board meetings and Facebook, Twitter, all those different things. But the main notifications that I get would be, I can't push it enough, Parent Square and Dojo. You have to get registered for those. You have to turn your notifications on.
Thank you so much for that. And Ms. Saavedra, from your perspective, what are some other ways that we might be able to keep informed, keep our parents and district information?
Well, word of mouth goes very far, sharing information with other parents. I love Parent Square personally because you can get so much information. I also love Aries only because my kids are in high school. I get weekly notifications of their grades. So anything that I see, I can right away tackle that problem. Hey, what's going on? I get text messages anytime they're absent. I love that. So because they're in high school, a lot of the clubs and the teams, they're very autonomous. They have a lot of the students guiding it. And so, of course, they love Twitter. They love Instagram. And that's fine. And that's the way I follow them. And that's the way I get that information.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And Ms. Levano, information, again, is really important. Is there anything you'd like to add as to how do parents get information? How do you get information?
I read my emails. I like emails. I read the emails that I get from the school. Also, I'm in my son's Google Classroom, so
Yes.
I'm receiving all the assignments. So I see and I ask him, "Have you done this? How are you doing with this project?" And then when he's like clueless, I'm like, "Okay, you better get on it." As far as the school, I also I'm part of the bands that they have for the different sports. So that's how I get the information. Social media, Twitter, Facebook. I see Instagram. I see a lot of the things that are happening. Yeah, I also attend the school board meetings online mainly now, and that's how I get my information.
Wow, that's so important that everyone has accurate information and that uses that information. And sometimes the information is out there, but if people aren't accessing it and doing what you're doing, checking your emails, checking all the different texts, and it doesn't necessarily always help them. But that's wonderful that you have the opportunity to access that information. And so
I think if I could cut in,
Yeah, of course.
Google Classroom, I feel like it's very underutilized and it's a great tool because when your kids hit middle school, when they hit high school, you get in the car and you say, "How was your day?" "Great." "Good." Right.
Yes.
But if you have Google Classroom and you know that in history they're currently studying World War II, and you say, "Oh, hey, so the other day they were studying the Mexican-American War, and I just realized that there was a reenactment going on at a museum in Rancho Dominguez." And I said, "Hey, why don't we go?" Or even not, you don't have to go on field trips, but at least just another tool for communication besides, "Hey, so what are you guys doing?" Or what, sometimes, "Oh, we're watching a movie about this or that." And then you get the talking and you also get the actual, what they're learning. They get it from all sides. So they get it from school, then they get it from home, they get it reinforced. And it's just a great tool for communicating. And like she said, being able to know, like, well, you missed this assignment or you missed this other assignment. Is everything okay? And it's a great tool.
That's great advice. And then the more that they see that you're interested in what they're doing, the more they're going to demonstrate interest and do their best, foot forward. I know one thing about you guys: you're super busy. You're working, you have full-time jobs, you're raising families, and yet you make the time to participate. So here's a question that I have: is how do you make time to be involved? How is it that you are able to make time to be involved? And I'd like to start with you, Ms. Saavedra.
Sure. Well, I always start with the big rocks first, right? So when I plan my calendar, I say, okay, what are the things that I can't do and I can't do? And you can't overstretch yourself. You can't overburden yourself because then I work a full-time job. I am a single parent. Beyond full-time, I think I work about 50, 60 hours a week maybe. And in a sense, sometimes that is it does cause limitations. Like I laugh and I tell them that I retired from the school site council because it was conflicting. So it was conflicting with the dad's club meeting. So I had to bow out. But there's other things that maybe you're not available on Thursdays, but maybe you're available on Mondays. And hey, maybe the PTA at your school meets that day. Or maybe you're not available for coffee with the principal in the morning, but you see that you're available for the one that's coming up next week. Plug. I don't know when this is going to air. But if you're available, at that time, I like to put for example, so I'm the chair for the district advisory council, and those meetings I've had them in my phone for I don't know how long. One other tool that I use is I downloaded the district calendar, and that goes straight to my phone. So whether that might be too much information, not everybody needs to know about every board meeting. Not everybody's going to show up to every district advisory council meeting, but at least it's there. So if you're sitting at home and you have nothing to do and the notification pops up, then you say, maybe today is the day that I try, but that's really how I'm big on my calendar, and I write things down at least twice. So that way I keep the date in mind. But that's how I keep everything kind of balanced, you can say.
Great. And Ms. Lovino, what about you?
Yeah, I think there has to be a balance,
Yeah.
because I'm a single mother too, and I work full time. I prioritize my kids. They didn't ask me to bring them to this world, so now it's my responsibility to do the best I can. So I put it on my schedule. I have this meeting, and like Ms. Saavedra said, we cannot be at every meeting that the district has. But if I read the agenda that the board meeting is going to have, and there's something that is really not interesting, but that I have an opinion about it, I'm going to make a point to be there, because I want the board to listen and the superintendent and the cabinet to listen to my ideas and what my take is into that subject. I also think about what my son, well, now only one, interest is, and if there's something where I can be involved with him, and also think about the academic, so it's like, okay, I have to think about my child's interest, what I'm interested, right, and my child's needs. Because if they're talking about special ed and 504 plans, I'm going to be there because I want to make sure they're enforced. That's how I prioritize. I don't attend every single meeting, but I attend the ones that are appealing to me, and I think I can give some input in it.
Thank you for that answer. Very, very insightful. And Ms. Prado, what about you? How do you make time to be involved?
I might sound a little bit like a broken record here, but it is that Google Calendar. Everything goes into the calendar, and I prioritize the kids. The kids come first. So when I'm volunteering at Bernie, it's in my calendar as a commitment. And if I can't make it, I'm messaging the principal and telling her I can't be there. I'll be there tomorrow, so that she knows when I'm going to be there. For the meetings, same thing. I put all the meetings in. If I can make it, I try to make it to most of the board meetings. But if something happens to conflict, Christine and I talk about it all the time, how we'll watch the replays. Even if you can't watch it live, it's always there for replay. So you can go back and get the information. You can download the agendas, things like that. So I do make sure, just like Rosalia, that I look at the agendas ahead of time. And if there is something that I need to be there for, I'm there and I'm talking. I'm not shy of the mic. So yeah, definitely prioritizing and making sure everything's in that calendar, because the Post-it notes on the fridge are going to get missed.
Yeah.
So it's got to be on the calendar. And like for me, my calendar is crazy. Between 5 kids, extracurriculars, academics, and then meetings on top of that. I don't look at my calendar till the night before. 5 o'clock after I eat dinner, I'm looking, okay, what's tomorrow? What do I have going on for tomorrow? And that's how we do my calendar. Because if I look a week out, I'm going to exhaust myself. So I just do that. I mean, for other people, I would say pick one thing. You know what I mean? None of us, I think you guys can all agree, none of us jumped in and went to 5 different meetings and jumped into all the board meetings and were chair of committees. And none of us started that way. You know what I mean? We all picked one thing. We started at our school site. We started mostly probably helping out in our kids' classroom. And then we got to know the staff and the principals and, hey, can you do site council? Hey, can you do DAC? So it kind of started adding up. So it's kind of like, pick one thing that's important to you. Pick one thing that interests you. You know what I mean? You don't want to sit in on a committee that has nothing to do with you. You know what I mean? Pick one thing that's interesting to you and start there. You don't have to jump in, because I can only imagine people are listening to this thinking, oh my God, I can't do that. They're on every committee. That's another full-time job on top of a full-time job. I can't do that. So I would honestly say, pick one thing, site councils are a great place to start. It's one meeting once a month, and normally they're Zoom. Most of the schools are Zoom now. So, no?
Some of them aren't.
Really?
Yeah.
All the ones I've talked to have been Zoom.
We started in person. Thank goodness we started in person this year
Oh,
at
wow.
El Rancho. Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Well, that was actually, you were thinking ahead. That was my next question. What
Oh,
tips
I
would
am
you
sorry.
have? No, you're beautiful. That's perfect. So the question is, what tips would you have to working parents who may not be able to get the time off or aren't able to participate? And I think you gave some really good advice, which is kind of a start slow and start with something that they're passionate about and build on that and see if there's interest in that. And like you said, it could sound really exhausting to have all these committees and be part of all these pieces, but if they can be part of one, that's one thing. Anyone else with any other tips that we'd like to share as well?
I will add to make a commitment to at least attend 2 events or activities for your son or daughter, your child per semester, and to support so your child feels supported and that you're there and that you care. I think 2 is not a lot. Maybe it could be parent conferences and back to school or open house, to start out, or even attend one sport activity. I've been the mother for all these kids for this last 4 years, and it's going to be really hard for me to stop getting involved with those kids because I started the snacks with these kids. I will see them that they're hungry and I wanted to provide food. So I started a group, okay, who can donate, and I'm cheering there. And I go from the beginning to the end of the meet. I don't leave unless I have something really important to do, but I stay because I'll be the mother or the parent that those kids don't have there. So for me, just attend two activities or whatever it is, but show your child that you care. Sorry.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you for that. And I got a chance to witness that this weekend. And I got a chance to be there, be part of that cross country meet. Wonderful, wonderful. Event.
Congratulations to your son again for making CIF.
Preliminary CIF.
And Ms. Pedro, anything you'd like to add to that?
It was just basically what everybody else is saying, right? Just pick something, and you don't have to attend every meeting. Even if you decide to join the PTA or the PTO or whatever is at your school, you can show up once, you can show up twice, and you can find what you like, right? Because obviously you want to be happy while you're volunteering. So you can ask the school site, you can talk to the school site and see what their needs are. You can find out from the clubs that are at the school site also, what events do you have going on this year? Maybe they might say, oh, we do a STEM event in April and you're an engineer and that's your thing and you would love to help out with these kids. So then that's what you do, right? Are you going to go to every single meeting? No, you don't have to. But guess what? When it comes to that April and those STEM opportunities, you're going to be there and you're going to show up and you're going to help these kids out. So I think that is a big part of it. You don't have to go to everything, but just let your voice be heard.
That's great. So one of the things as a district we're trying to do is we're trying to engage our parents more and have them participate. So what advice would you have for our district office to cultivate more parent involvement, in our schools, in our district? What advice would you have for us in the district office as to how do we engage more of our parents in this process? And so, Lovina, maybe we can start with
I
you.
have a little list. So opportunities for workshops, in the evenings, perhaps on Saturdays, because we have a lot of parents that work, they have long hours. Outreach to the community during the parks and recreation events, or even in front of the school, a table. That's a lot, home visits, especially for those kids that extra support and you see that they're falling through the cracks. You need to do something. Personalized calls, not just the general call. Call that parent that you need that child right here, maybe join the PTA, the PTO, because you will get a lot of information, at your school. Those are some of the things that I think that could help.
Thank you. Yeah, it certainly sounds as you personalize those messages and that connection that makes a stronger impact on parents and make sure that they know you care. I remember as a site principal, one of the things that I would do is I would have a situation and I would call a parent even ahead of time before like he's doing something really well. I catch him doing something nice. I'd get on my cell phone. I call that parent and say, hey, you know what? And the parent would always like, what's going on here? They're kind of like, what happened? Oh, it's the principal of the school. I'm calling to let you know. And that your son was doing a great job today. He was behaving really well. And then this, you could hear their voice. Oh my goodness, this is great. And make that connection, that personalized connection before it, there's anything negative to share. And all of a sudden you have a partner. And so those are great tips right there. And so, Ms. Prado, what about you? Any tips that you want to share with us?
First off, I would love to get phone calls saying my kids are doing something good because we never get the good phone calls. So if someone can call and give a good phone call, that phone call rings. I'm like, oh my goodness, what did who do now?
Let me answer right away.
What website did they try to log on to this time? So if you catch them doing something good, I think that would be a great way to get people involved because they know that we're watching and we're not just reporting the bad stuff. So if they see that we're watching the good stuff too, that might be a good way to get people in. So I love that idea. For me, the biggest thing that you guys did this last year that I think we should bring more of is the parent summits. And I know it's something that you guys had on your agenda, but having those breakout rooms where we can decide what topics are important to us so that we can go in and see or get the information that we want instead of being, like if I see a workshop that's about, helping your kid to read and my kid's already an advanced reader, it's not a workshop that pertains to me. But if I'm going to a parent summit where there's 3, 4, 5 breakout rooms and I can go to the one that's about parent involvement, or I can go to the one that's about college readiness, you know what I mean? Or something of that nature, that I think would reach a lot of people instead of just one niche of parents for one workshop. So food was included. So plug that in there. Everyone loves free food.
And so I think we have a date on that one. April 27th will be
fantastic.
our parent summit. And so we're looking at very close to what we did last year, but maybe even growing it more. But thank you for that. And
I love the parent summits. That was an amazing thing. For school site level, I know a big way to get people involved in the school district is to get them involved at the school site first. Being involved at a district level is daunting. So if you can get the parents involved at the site level first, that's where you can kind of, they get used to the process on a smaller scale before they realize, okay, this is just one piece of the puzzle. And then we can show them the rest of the puzzle. So being involved in the school site first is going to be huge. And I know for us this year at Bernie, we've had a ton of volunteers, which we've never had before. And I contribute a lot of that to the fact that we put on a lot of free events this last year too. We did the free movie nights. You can show up, you can bring your own food, you can bring your own drinks. We'll have food and drinks there if you want them, but the goal of the night is not to make money. The goal of the night is to get together as a community, as a school site, for a joint reason. We watched the Mario movie, the kids dressed up, they had a blast. You know what I mean? The parents had fun making decorations beforehand. Some of them, that was what they did. They showed up at lunchtime, made decorations. That was their contribution. Some parents showed up and were able to volunteer to help sell concessions. That was their contribution. Some people weren't able to do anything until after the movie and they was help clean up. That was their contribution, but they got to help on their time schedule. And it showed how many people showed up. We had 200?
No, I would say at least 250, 300.
I mean, it was a ridiculous amount of people in our quad for that movie night. And being able to get those parents involved, we literally just had our fall carnival and parents were calling us, hey, when are you calling for volunteers? We want to help. We actually had an abundance of volunteers for our fall carnival, which we've never had in the past. And I do contribute that a lot to having our free events because they get to come in. And if they can't help, they can't help, but they still get to participate and they get to see that community spirit. So if we can get them involved at the site level first and then work them into the district level, I think would be huge.
Excellent. And thank you, Mr. Adra.
I just want to give a shout out to Miss Lugo if she does listen to this, because I'm sure she does because she's very involved at El Rancho. Because when the students did really good on what was that, she gave every single student, every single parent a call that was on the principal's honor roll and let them know, hey, congratulations, your child's doing great, or they're doing great things. So that like everyone's saying, it's important. A lot of the stuff that the school district has been doing lately, I feel like you're finally hitting the nail on the head. So like, I know the Parents Summit has been a long time coming. I know I kept bugging about it, right? The volunteer handbook, so that across the board, everybody knows what has to be done. So as long as we know what to expect and you know what to expect of us. It just makes that a lot easier for us to say, okay, we can get 10 volunteers. Oh, we'll get them here after 4, whatever needs to be worked out, right? The Parks and Recs table also became because it was an idea of a few parents that said we need to be at the street fest, right? And so then it was like, yeah, okay. Then the school district showed up, and then now they've been doing those street fests for I don't know, like year and a half. So all these came about as ideas that a lot of things that parents had. So somebody's sitting there at home, or I don't know, wherever you're listening to this, and they might have a great idea. Go up to your school site and share it with them, because you never know. It could be something that is super helpful, or something that maybe you think, nah, nobody cares. I've been pushing for mock interviews, right, all year. And so I said, we've been talking about starting a PTO at El Rancho, and we keep talking about it and keep talking about it. So we finally said, you know what, we're starting a PTO at El Rancho, and whatever we need to do, that's what we're gonna do. And so that's what we did, right? And so you might have an idea that is something that is needed, something that is extremely helpful, and you might not know what to do with it. Well, walk up to your school site, walk up to your counselor, to your principal, to your teacher, and share that with them. And volunteering at the school district level can be a little daunting, but you get familiarized with the people as well. You get familiarized. I always tell people when they come to the DAC meetings, because we've been coming to the DAC meetings for so long, I said, you're going to hear a bunch of acronyms. Do not get scared. Do not say, what is this? What is CAS? What is, because you're going to hear a lot of acronyms, and or you're going to hear a lot of stuff that you're not too sure about. Whenever I see like newer parents, I will give them my number and I say, I'm glad to see you here. And if you need help with anything, let me know. Like, seriously, call me. I give people my cell phone number all the time, like candy, like, here you go. But it's just a part of, we need to grow the community. And as long as everybody is pushing in the same direction and realizing that we're all doing this for the benefit of the children, like Ms. Lovano said earlier, not just her children, but the children that are going to come afterwards, right? And after that and after that. And so Pico Rivera is a great community. I heard this from Mr. Elias at Back to School Night. He said, the great thing about Pico Rivera is that people from Pico Rivera will always look out for people from Pico Rivera. Mm-hmm. So, and that's what we do. And we see each other at the market. We bump into each other at the park. So there's no need for us to be divisive or to not want to help each other out. So I guess the biggest thing that the school district can do is just be welcoming to parents and welcoming to ideas and suggestions. And, the communications department is doing a great job. They've been pumping out videos, like very professional. I love it when they highlight the students. They did this, they did that. I don't know how they are everywhere that they are, but I love to see that, because especially people that maybe you came through El Rancho, you're an alumni, you graduated 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, I don't know. But you're looking at this and you're seeing these kids and you played that sport and now these kids are doing great. It just makes you feel good.
That is amazing. What great advice for us. And, I want to thank you for everything you've shared today. And I want to particularly thank you because you're right. A lot of the ideas that we're doing right now, a lot of the things that are happening in this podcast, the Parent Summit, the idea of having a superintendent advisory, where we have parents come in and give their voices on an ongoing basis. All of those are pieces that were not my idea or even our cabinet's idea. It was your ideas, the collective body of parents that have been here on a regular basis, and you're making a difference. And I want to thank you for that. I want to thank you for your advice. And I look forward to us having continued conversations, and hopefully we can come back and do another podcast in the near future. I want to take this opportunity to plug one of our next upcoming events on Thursday, on November 9th at 5 p.m. we are going to have coffee with the superintendent, another opportunity for us to engage and talk about the many issues that we're doing. This is going to be a repeat from the one we had in the morning, so it's not new content. So it's intended for those parents that were not able to come in the morning, that want to come in the evening. You're able to participate and hear that information, to know what's happening here in our district, and to give us your questions about how we can improve the services that we have. So with that, I'd like to thank everyone and look forward to the next time we have El Rancho Leaders in Education.
Please follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at El Rancho Schools.